recently they released the first trailer for the new Halo series TV show. Have you guys seen that?
Mhm.
I reacted to it on the target audience, my YouTube channel with friend of the podcast, Alex Daniels. Cheap
Ooh.
plug. Okay, go ahead.
I like that. I like that. I didn't know it was called target audience. Yeah, I hadn't been filled in on that, but um and that coupled with, the Witcher series that came out a couple of years ago now, right? I think they're on their second,
Mhm.
or they're might have just got
I think
approved for
they
their
made a
third season.
movie. I think they made a
Something.
movie too.
Yeah, with Henry Cavill. Um it's been really interesting to me to see some of my favorite video game storylines kind of get adapted for most of them are just going straight to streaming. They're not going, into the big onto the big screen. I don't know about the Witcher movie, if there is one. But I was wondering, are you guys a fan of the video games being changed into TV series? Of the ones that we have seen being The Witcher, and if you guys have seen The Witcher or the Halo one, are you excited for it?
Zach, you can go first.
I It necessarily doesn't matter to me if it's a video game series or not, whether it's just done good. Um, I guess at least whenever it comes to a video game series with me, it just sort of has a little bit to live up to, especially if it's a good game, such as Halo, to where you don't necessarily want it to just be like not good. Essentially, you just don't want it to either stray away from what it already has been, or you don't want it to corrupt the story that's already been in place, filter away from it. Um, so I feel like that's where a lot of some of these issues come with these video games. Um, I haven't watched the Witcher series, but I've heard some real good things of it. I shouldn't say that. I've watched a few episodes of it, but I haven't necessarily seen it all. But at least that's giving me a little bit of hope for some of these video game series, because we definitely haven't necessarily had the best track record for them in the past.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree with that. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Witcher. My brother Chris, another friend of the podcast, he big fan of The Witcher. He's told me to watch it, but I just throw it on the list with 1,000 other things that I need to watch. But so I haven't gotten around to it yet. But I know that it has a lot of praise, so that seems like a good example. But I haven't seen anything like that. As far as the Halo goes, when I reacted to the trailer, I didn't know anything about the show, and I was a little bit confused because I was like, this doesn't really look like the game. I don't know where this falls into it. And people did comment and let us know that apparently the show is going to be its own thing. Like, it's using the characters in the story, obviously, but it's not like canon to any of the games. And Alex was a little bit disturbed by the fact that it's just some random guy playing Master Chief, and not the original. Which, I mean, I don't know if you're going to get the original voice actor to play him. I was a little bit more understanding of that. But overall, I have
The guy
Paramount
who's playing
Plus.
him's pretty. He's been in a lot of things. It's not like
Yeah.
just some nobody or anything like that.
Yeah, but as far as like the Halo franchise, he's just stepping in, from my understanding. But I have Paramount Plus, which is where it's going to be, so I'm sure I'll check it out. And seeing the energy sword was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that was the number one thing is I've got a lot of friends who are super fans of Halo, and I guess they got the original voice of Cortana, but they did not get the original voice for Master Chief. Like you said, I probably have heard a million different reasons why they couldn't do it, and I completely understand. I'm not super bent on it either. But I think it looks cool. I think that the special effects is pretty much like, I'm like, oh, if they nail it in the special effects category, it's going to be a cool show, because that's pretty much all sci-fi ever feels like to me, is like, hey, we're pulling off pretty cool special effects going on here. And like you said, seeing the energy sword was dope. But yeah, I actually never watched The Witcher either. I think I might have started it and I was like, okay. But I was never a big. I played Witcher 3, but I was never like a big Witcher fan, so I never knew where like the story intertwined, if it was like following the game storyline put into a show, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people failed, right? Because if they were to make Skyrim into a TV show, right, which is essentially what they're doing with The Witcher, do you just make the main storyline? Because 90% of people who play Skyrim don't necessarily are super fond of the main storyline. They're just like a fan of the game. So I think that's where like one of the biggest like disparaging thoughts comes from a lot of these things, is because like, if I experienced the game one way, will this show depict it that way? And I think that the Halo series is good because, like you said, they're not doing the game storyline. They're doing a different storyline, but these characters exist in that storyline, which seems like it's like a prequel type beat where like this is before the events of Halo 1 actually happened. So that's cool. But yeah, I think that there is a lot of pitfalls, like Zach was saying, whenever it comes to this kind of stuff because of the people's nostalgia of this. And, you know, I mean, what? There's been countless of other video game related movies. Like, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is what? The Mario and Luigi movie. That one necessarily didn't tickle a lot of people's fancy and had not a lot to do with the game. Like, very confusing. Um, but I would be interested in thinking, is there any game that you guys specifically would be like, oh, if they made a TV series out of that, I would seek that out to watch. Um, Halo is probably one of the ones on my list that would be I like, oh, that's like a cool universe to build a show in. Um, so I was wondering if there's any other like game universes that you would want to see a TV show made out of.
Mhm.
Zach, you can go ahead and start on whatever one if you have one on the top of your head.
Yeah, I'm thinking because you definitely want to go for the most cinematic ones or the ones that sort of fit that scheme, whether it's a movie or a TV series. And one that comes to bat first is BioShock. Whether you're going with the first one, which is probably the preferred one for me, or whether it's the second one or Infinite, but all three of those games really have a pretty cinematic storyline, ups and downs throughout it, twists and turns that I feel like can be portrayed very, or they can essentially be brought over to a TV series or a movie very well, from that game sort of standpoint.
I completely forgot. I don't know, Zach, if you watched Arcane, the League of Legends animated series that they had there that came out a couple months ago. But that is also another way that you could turn your video game into a TV show, and I think that that was pretty well executed. It kind of gives you more of the backstory of some of the characters without having to, like read lore pages and shit like that.
Hmm.
So I think that's cool too. Kind of like using the show to expand on the universe in a
Hmm.
way, but not necessarily in how the game is like was played. Like the storyline of the game is not necessarily the thing in question, but the characters kind of get more developed from there or tweaked from
Yeah,
there to
and
make
that's a
more
great way to
sense.
do it.
Did you end up watching Arcane?
Mm-mm.
I
At
think
least not
you
yet.
I think you'll like it. Personally, I think you would like it. With your background in League of Legends, I think you'll have a good time with it if you do end up watching it. And I think there's going to be more than uh this season that we got. I don't know, remember if it got confirmed for more.
Nice.
Josh, you never played League of Legends. Did you watch Arcane? I know there was a lot of hype for it, but I didn't know if you.
Yeah, I did hear the hype about it, and no, I haven't watched it. I have heard from people that even if you haven't played League of Legends, it's good enough as a show to watch and understand what's going on. It doesn't like require you to be a League of Legends, follower to get it. So I may check it out. I just it's on the list.
Yeah, yeah, I get that completely.
I definitely had an idea. This is actually one that I've thought about before, but I think seeing the Halo trailer, I think it could really be in that same vein a little bit of the live action. I would love to see a live action Unreal tournament.
That would
But
be sick.
Hmm.
if they just did it as like a narrative and they make up a main character or whatever, like that'd be fine. But I would like to see it as a fictionalized version of basically like an American Ninja Warrior, where you do it as this, live sports broadcast where they just actually show an Unreal tournament. So instead of like following one character or a narrative, it's shown more as a sports competition, like what it was in the video game. And obviously it's a fictional show, but it's presented in that manner. I think that would be awesome. And they could do all the different modes from the game, like capture the flag, last man standing, and everything with all the brutal kills. I think that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be absolutely wild. That would be so cool. That's a very interesting universe too. I think this happened too, and I think that like one of the problems that I would see is like there's a lot of different games that kind of have the same general feel. Like a Doom universe type thing would be cool, but it existing in parallel with something, like Halo's ordeal with the like uh, I feel like it's quick to oversaturate some sort of like sci-fi type game. Um I think it's pretty. I think it would be cool, and I think that it was mentioned to us on Twitter that it would be interesting to see a TV show in relation to like Kingdom Hearts universe.
Absolutely. I saw that response, and yeah, that would be awesome. Disney
I
Plus series for sure.
would be really interesting. Um, and I think the other one that really stood out to me, um, and a lot of people have played this game, and a lot of people told me, I think, dude, even my therapist has told me, dude, if you haven't played this, you should play it. It's the Mass Effect series. I think the Mass Effect series could have a cool TV show if you did it in the Mass Effect universe, but not considered the
Not
Mass Effect
candid.
actual. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you it had like all of the elements of Mass Effect, but not about the people in Mass Effect necessarily.
Mhm.
And I think Mass Effect has actually been like something's being worked on, whether it's a movie or show or something, for like years. I feel like at this point, I've heard about Mass Effect being adapted, but nothing's really come out yet.
Yeah, I think the TV shows kind of fit stuff better for than movies, right? Because like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII has a movie that is also kind of tangential of the story, but I think like of the TV series or a streaming series, you can kind of get a better like grasp on the universe in general. And I think that a TV series is a good tool in leveraging, some more fleshing out of those characters. You can give like writers a perception of a character, right? Or a perception of a universe and like, okay, run with like, you have the rights to
Mhm.
use this universe, run with it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then you kind of get like if it was in the Halo universe and it was not about Master Chief, would I still be interested? I don't know, maybe. Depends. If it was about the Arbiter, I'd probably still watch it. That'd be cool. But out of like a lot of universes, I think some of the ones that if you had a game that you would not be interested in, I think that I recently got into the Slime Rancher series. Have you guys seen anything about Slime Rancher?
Mm-mm.
It's like a farming sim where you catch slimes and you put them into little cages. I think that
Oh,
would be a ridiculous show, but I don't know if I'd ever watch it. There's so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
games that just don't translate really well to a TV show space. Like,
If if they ever make an Among Us TV series, I'm canceling whatever service that's on. I'm sorry. I'm
what if they make a TV series that is based on the concept of Among Us, but they just don't? And then you like, you get like 3 episodes in, and then they start using like Among Us fucking lingo. You're like, that guy's the
Oh,
imposter, and you'd be
dude,
like,
yeah.
I'm fucking
All I'm
out of here.
imagining, all I'm imagining is just like a boardroom of people wearing suits, like trying to understand Among Us memes and putting them into the show, and I just
100%,
can't. I can't,
100%.
dude.
we'll
One
get
I would
there.
one I would really like to see too is kind of an anthology where each season would be a different story, would be a Fable live action, where each series would be a different story of a Fable of a
Ooh,
character going
That'd
from
be
a
cool.
childhood into adult. Yeah, because each game was a different story. So I think it'd be cool if they did that, but that's also kind of basic. I don't know if there's that big of a fan base for it.
But it's so like so like you look at some of these worlds that so like Fable, Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls series, to where you essentially have the ability to customize and create your own world. Sort of where Isaiah sort of touched earlier with where if you sort of just give these people reins of a world and an environment that you can create your own story with,
Yeah.
it's to where you can essentially explore other routes and build upon a story that's already there without afflicting or contradicting what's currently going on, and you can still reference what's going on through the other video games.
Yeah. And then
this,
you have the first 4 seasons all take place in Albion, all different heroes. 5th season, they all meet up, take up someone big. Boom, there you go.
boom. That
Mm.
sounds like I would watch. 10 out of 10 would watch. Just pitched. I think that while you were talking about that, my brain actually went into overdrive, and I think that if they dropped a TV series on the whole ordeal that happened through Call of Duty Nazi zombies, I would be 10 out of 10 sold, dude. If we follow our cast of characters, fucking Richtofen and whatever the fuck the other guys are, like I'm in, bro. I'm so in to a Call of Duty fucking zombies like TV series that actually, I could watch and then understand what is happening in those games.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, 100% guaranteed. But There's so many game universes that I think that would right, if they sold their rights to just their universe, not their storyline, I think you could get a
Hmm.
lot of cool
Mhm.
things out of those because those just universes are like fleshed out. And
It's
then if
huge.
you and like they write the story and then they get like a final approval from somebody who is in charge of that universe, and then being like, okay, this isn't universe breaking, right?
Yeah.
Um, in the end, would end up pretty cool, in my opinion. So, last take on it. Are you guys going to be watching? You said, Josh, that you're going to be watching it since it's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Zach, are you going to be trying to seek out that Halo TV show, or you think you're just going to let that one go by?
It's one of those. It's not gonna be one of those see it play it, skip it shows to where it's gonna make me get Paramount Plus. But if I come across Paramount Plus in the foreseeing months, I would check it out.
Just wait for the show to come out. I think they're probably going to do a weekly release because Paramount Plus does that too. I would wait
Mhm.
for the whole show to be available, and then I'm pretty sure they have like a week long
It's
trial,
a
and then you
free
can just binge
trial
it.
and binge it out. Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
just do that. Yeah.
100%. I think that I probably will do that. More than likely it's going to come out weekly, and all of my Halo friends are going to tell me if it's good or bad. And then by the time I'm heard the fourth review, if it's good or bad, I'll make my decision on if it's good or
Yeah.
bad or not.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's for Paramount Plus. If you do have to spend the month, it's $5 with ads or $10 without. It's not.
It's
You know.
not crazy, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not Netflix. This is what, it's $15.99 or something like that. Bro.
Yeah. And then while you're on there, you can watch all the seasons of the challenge.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I love it.
So I think that's all I had. I just was wondering if you guys were into the video game universe's TV adaptations, or if you guys are skeptical on them. It sounds like Zach's a little skeptical, but open-minded. And Josh doesn't necessarily, I mean, he's got a list of things, and sometimes things will make it on there, but it doesn't necessarily seem like his new thing. It's not gonna switch. It's not gonna overtake superhero movies in his heart. It seems.
No,
like.
no. No, but Devin did say Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh,
I can see
Horizon
that
Zero
one.
Dawn's universe would be absolutely insane. It's one of the more creative universes, I think. What were you gonna say, Zach?
Good. No, I was gonna say agree. I definitely think Horizon Zero Dawn universe would also work well with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because like, it's pretty creative. I don't necessarily. I mean, like, there's some sort of answers to sci-fi worlds, and that one is a completely like out of left field comparative to some of the other ones. But yeah, Devin is definitely spot on with that recommendation. That's why I'm glad we had him in the chat. Dude. He's got that fresh young man brain.